Hi everyone, Guy the Color Guy, also author of Retailing in Colors. Today is a very different day. I've provided so many videos in regards to colors, the self identity, using four simple colors, a lot of fun. Today is going to be history as how I got to that point, but not as much fun. I'm going to tell you my history. My history is, how can I say, dark. Because I spent a number of years, over a decade, in the world of addiction. But it started before being in the addiction. Let me tell you where it came from. Because when I was young, I had no self-esteem. I did not see myself as significant. I didn't see myself as having any importance, any value. I felt like I was just a piece of dirt. I couldn't live up to my family's expectations. And that was just so destructive for me, up and until I experimented with alcohol. Now, here's the thing. If you were to ask me, Guy, have you ever had a drink? My answer would be no. I never had a drink. I always drank to the point of intoxication. The reason why is because of the feeling that it gave me. It gave me the feeling of being invincible. It gave me the feeling that I was 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, and I could take on the world. My self-esteem was so high when I was into that state. However, the next day, add to how I felt, and of course what I've done the night before, it just was horrendous, and try to recover from that, because it never got any better. It got worse and worse and worse. I remember a lot of my family saying, you don't have to. You just say no, just have a drink. I wasn't able to have a drink. Now what happens, this got progressive. This got very, very progressive very rapidly, to the point where I was a weekend binger. I would drink weekends, drink excessively. And then as it progressed, I found any reason during the week, whatever the case may be, I would get to work still intoxicated, always fooling myself and trying to fool my employers. And to my employers who remember me way back when, I do apologize sincerely, because I didn't do you folks any justice. Now, as the consumption of alcohol got worse and worse, it got to a point where it wasn't enough. And then I was introduced to cocaine. Oh, I still remember to the day, friends were at the house, friends, let's define friends. They were doing cocaine. I've never done it before. Sat back and said, what is that? And they said, well, the coke. I did one line, and that was it. I wanted more. I wanted that feeling. I felt like I had become invincible. I could take on the world. And from that point forward, it just, again, progressively got worse. Here's what happened back then. Is I hated who I was. Literally hated who I was. I wished for death. I wanted to die. I tried to commit suicide a number of times. But here's what happened is I was afraid to die. I wanted to die, but I was afraid to die, if that makes any sense. Versus today, I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid of death. It's funny how that whole perspective has changed. Now, as my life got progressively worse, I went from being an owner of two businesses to living in the box at the end of behind a bar, of going to jail. I went to jail because that was almost a safe place. As crazy as that sound, it was. I felt safer in there. I was in a secure environment. I felt protected. Crazy as it sounds, I felt protected inside a jail cell. And what happened is it was death or get help. Thank goodness for going out to get help. I went into recovery. I went into the detox. I spent 17 days in detox, getting seizures. And then I had a choice. I had a choice. What do I do from spending so many days in the detox? Well, that's I was still in the fog. But what happened was I had an opportunity to go into a 28-day treatment program, which I did. And I have to say, I'm so grateful about having these programs, these counselors, that like they love you no matter what you've done. They don't judge you. They wanted to be there to help me. They helped me, and then what happened is after 28 days, I had a choice to come back to my hometown or go to another community for a longer term treatment. It was interesting because members of my family weren't aware where was I going to come home or was I going somewhere else. And I found out later on that one of my brothers was at the bus station waiting for me. He didn't know if I was coming or not. But what he watched was the group of people that I would hang out with. They were at the bus station also. They were waiting for me. They were waiting and partying in a van. And that was what I was going to go home to. I made that decision that night not to go back there. I decided to go to the long-term treatment. And after spending over a decade in the world of consumption and addiction, I really didn't know how to live. I didn't know what I enjoyed doing. I'd completely lost who I was. I became somebody I didn't know. I looked in the mirror and didn't know that person because everything that I did, everything going out, there was nothing I did not do that didn't involve the consumption of any drug or alcohol. Everything I did, I had to reboot my entire life. And that was the pivoting point of my life. Because here's what happened, is I sat back and I'm very visual. And as you know, in the world of colors, I still didn't know who I was. But one thing I didn't know that I was very visual. So I started to draw a doodle. I understand visually. So I drew a beer bottle, because that was my alcohol of choice. And booze plus me equals death. It's as simple as that. When you stop your consumption, it's like stalling a car. You're driving down the road, you stall your car. That car still stays there. And I know, and I still know today, that if I get back into that car of consumption, I don't start from zero. I start where I stalled. And where I stalled was that close from ending it all. And And I tell you, I don't plan on ending it anytime soon. I plan on being around. I always tease my children. I always say, I'm going to grow old so I can be a pain in your arse. And he said, Dad. But what happens is I was able to utilize everything and the help. And here's the critical point, is the help of others, the counselors that were there, the counselors that helped me move forward. Was I an easy person to work with? Hell no. Not at all. I was difficult because I was holding back with my old way of thinking. I slowly started changing a few things, but still being very, very confused inside my head. Now, what happens in the world of addiction is it destroys everything that you care so much about. It destroys your family, destroys your friends. Most important, it destroys you. It's simple, it's suicide in a bottle. It's suicide in a needle. It's you wanting to end your life. We'll put on a nice facade for everybody. Happy-go-lucky. Oh, look at that. He's so funny when he's drunk. There's nothing funny about it. It's a way, literally, I was dying and hoping to. Now, what my message for today? My message for today is for those of you who are teeter-tottering on the thought of maybe yes, maybe no, or know someone who is having those issues. Help is there. There is great help out there. Go find it. Ask for help. When I asked for help, and I did it in such a way that as much as I remember, I'm living in back of a bar in a cardboard box, and my ego still wants to control. When I asked for help in I'll call it a very sick way, because it was basically attempting to kill myself, the people that helped me were there, and those of you, if you're there listening to this message, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for saving my life, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you. Now, if you're a person who's, again, teeter-tottering on the thought, go get help. Get help. People are there to help you. And if you don't know, and if you feel uncomfortable, send me an email. Wherever you are, I'd be happy to help you. It's just the beginning. I'm going to have a few more videos on this. I also planned for the employers, because remember, I was working in environments that required a high level of safety. Where's the safety when you're intoxicated? I'm going to go through all that with you guys, step by step. I'm going to use my experience because I know what my experience is all about. And take my word for it, from what I've seen, what I've gone through, my experience varies very little with everybody who's been there, done that. Picture may change a little bit, but the story's the same. So I want you folks to really start to pay attention. And if you know someone, pay attention also, because what I'm going to be going through may help you understand what they're going through. And also I'm going to provide you how to help. How to get into a way of helping that a person may want to help themselves. This is just a preview. Folks, thank you for taking the time. You will be hearing from me again. I guarantee it. And with that, as I say, keep your colors bright. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm happy to be around. Bye for now.